Okay, this is the very brief introduction to today's classwork. Uh, you've done this assignment before multiple times. One for Brave New World, one for The Rise of Watching God. Just the content was different, so you know what to do for this. I'm not going to read the directions word for word. You've seen them before. If you need to reread them, they're on the doc. This is a PDF on my computer. My computer just works faster that way. I posted a doc that you type into. The font is different. Other than that, it looks pretty much the same. Okay, so Macbeth is kind of multiple genres, or it has multiple elements of different genres in there. I'm going to present some to you with definitions, archetypes, conventions, and tropes of those genres. And for each one, I want you to figure out how Macbeth interacts with that genre, or that trope, or that convention, or that archetype. So, does it conform? Does it advance? Does it modify? Does it challenge? Does it denounce? And does it skip? Then for each one, you will highlight the response and justify or give evidence. For evidence, you don't need a quote. You could just summarize what happened. Um, so the first archetype is the tragic hero. So what's the definition of this archetype? The tragic hero, which appears in Shakespeare and I don't know the vast majority of history and pretty much all cultures, is a privileged, noble character of high repute, like high status, who, by virtue of a tragic flaw, mixed action, doing the wrong actions, and fate, suffers a fall from glory into suffering. They start good and it ends crappy for them. So all of the parts here, um, all of the tragic hero are here. So for each one, you highlight how it interacts and you justify. I'm not going to go over these. This is what you would do in class. And I just realized a typo. This should say archetype because this is an archetypal type character. Oh well, my bad. So for conventions or tropes, convention's a typical feature in a genre. A trope is a reoccurring thing. It can also be a cliche in a genre. So we have the Senecan 5 act tragedy, which is a Roman style of play or format of play. Does Macbeth meet this kind of checklist of all the things that go into the 5 act tragedy? So I gave like kind of where it happens and what it's called, and the thing. So give me evidence. And then the final one is Gothic literature. So there's kind of no set definition of Gothic literature. It's always very vague. If you were to find um, a definition, it's like a checklist of things that may or may not be in it. So Gothic literature is that kind of spooky-ish kind of literature that you've seen a lot of. That Edgar Allan Poe. Actually, there's a lot of Gothic stuff in sci-fi and fantasy. So let me cover that. I'll just read it. So, what's the definition of the genre? Literature that combines elements of gloom, mystery, decay, confined spaces, suspense, and the past tends to show the dramatic and the sensational, cruelty, sexual deviance, evil magic, like things that are over the top. Now, note Macbeth was written after the genre of Gothic literature was created, but those elements are as old as humans. The elements that are in Gothic literature. So here's a checklist of things that often appear in Gothic literature, and what does Macbeth do with that? And that's the whole intro to the assignment. This is normally with my 5 minute explanation, this is a 40-minute lesson, and normally a few minutes talking at the end. So in class, you probably only work on this for about 32 minutes, maybe 34 minutes with your partner, and you work faster alone, so it shouldn't take you that. It should take you less. Okay? That's the intro.